Hello everyone, welcome to the next session on SAP UI5. In the last class of SAP UI5, we discussed about how to use HTML5. Get starting with the HTML5 in the Web IDE. In today's session, we will go and discuss more elements of HTML5 control. So let's get started. Today's class, I'll just quickly connect to my SAP Web IDE local edition. So I just enter the URL into the browser, and by far what different elements we have seen was like using the paragraph, using the heading tag. We also saw using different tag names and their properties, ordered, unordered, list, images, anchor, input field, and form element to send a request to the server. Now in today's class, our first element which we're going to start is called. So before we start our element, let's understand how the HTML structure is being designed in the browser. So as we saw that it's a tree data structure, right? Now in the HTML structure, so that's my next Fundafox. In the structure of an HTML, we will have wide variety of elements, right? So we'll have wide variety of elements present as part of an HTML structure. So when we have such a wide variety of elements part of such a structure, and if you want to identify a particular element, how will you do it? So if there is a need to address a particular element, how can we do that? So in order to achieve this, we can assign a unique ID to each HTML element on page. Remember guys, there is an ID property for HTML, and each HTML element ID has to be unique. Okay, it has to be unique. So whenever you assign an ID property in a tag name, so you can put ID and you can put a unique ID. This has great advantages. We will see these advantages in upcoming days. Okay, so that's the ID property which you can assign to any HTML element to identify this element uniquely, which means if there is an element with an ID, this particular element, you will not find any other element on the entire page with same ID. So ID remains always unique. That's a golden rule from W3C. Now with that, let's move on to now div tag, or I call block level elements. So what is block level element in HTML? So earlier example which we had created in our SAP Web IDE, we saw that we were using a tag. So can anybody tell me which tag were we using to create a line break to start our content from a new line? Which tag we were using to start our content from a new line? Anyone, do you remember which tag we were using to start it
Break.
from a new line? BR tag, perfect answer. So we were using the BR tag, line break tag, to start things from a new line, right? So now what we will do, let me just close this. Okay, so here we go. I search for this and run this up, and you see we were using a BR tag which has got this content into a new line. Now how this is possible with other way? So we can use block level elements also for that purpose. If you want to start our content automatically from a new line, with one purpose of that element is block level element. So the first block level element is called div tag. Div stands for division tag. What is this tag does? Whenever we want to structure our HTML content on a page, we can make use of div elements. Div elements itself never has any footprint on UI. They are used to wrap and structure elements on UI. So they are like containers which contains other elements, and they are mainly used to structure your content on the page. Okay, they so you see now there are a lot of beautiful websites on the world, Facebook, Twitter, and you see their content is not distributed. Their content is not, uh, it doesn't look like our website what we created. So if I maybe go to here also, you will see on this particular website all the content which I created is also pretty well structured, which gives a nice look and feel to the user whenever they are accessing the website. It's very much structured. So content is typically structured very well on a typical website. So you see there is this area, and you see these particular things are well structured, and it gives kind of a flow to you. So this structuring of the content is very important on a page, especially within a blog also. If you see this content, this is one content, this is one content, this is one content. So if I want to create small areas on a screen and want to design my screen in a structured way, I can go ahead with the div level element. The beauty of div level element is when we put an element inside div tag, it automatically starts from a new line. This is also an advantage of using div tag. The moment you put an element in a div tag, it automatically starts from a new line. Hope it's clear to all of you. What is div level element? Div tag. It is used to structure the content. It is used to create uh, small pieces, the blocks on the UI, in which you can store your HTML content. It wraps around the content. We'll see the usage of it now in system. So let me just go back, and you can see our website. It looks so crude. It doesn't have any structure at all, right? So we probably want to give a nice structure to our website, so we can make use of development. But before that, maybe I just start with another page. So I click on a new file, and I just give a name called, let's say, my or html day2 dot html file. And yet again, we typically start with the doc type declaration, HTML, and then I say HTML page, header of HTML with the title property, and I say day 2 HTML day 2, and then we have body of HTML, and then inside the body we'll put content. So let's go ahead and put some content. So I'll put just a heading 2 tag, and I say what is HTML, and then I'll put a paragraph, and I say HTML stands for hyper, okay, let me increase the font size, text markup language. It is used to create static web page. Okay, and then similarly I'll create two more blocks, and then we say what is CSS and what is JavaScript. So I'll say CSS stands for cascading style sheet. It is used to beautify HTML content. And then we have JS. JS stands for JavaScript. it is a browser programming language. We are done. So that's our set of content over here, and I just execute it. And oops, I'm doing a mistake. I think I should run the HTML day2. So I can come here and change this file HTML day02, and you see it's executing. Now if you want to also run the file based on the one which you're clicking, you have to define in WebIDE a configuration also. So you can right click on your project and you can go to project settings, and there has to be a setting to define the default file. Okay, and if it is not there, then we have to create a sample file where we give the name of the welcome file which we would like to get started with when you start the project. So let me just come here and define a new file here, and I will name it as neoapp.json. And I just mention in this file that what will be my welcome file name. So what will be my welcome file name? The file which I'm going to start my application will be html day02.html. I hope this should work fine. I'm not sure. Okay, no additional properties. Okay, that's okay. Now I run this project from top. It's not working. Maybe I need to cross check this. Right now ignore this part what I just covered. We will check that later. So now you see our HTML5 page is created with 3 elements. Let's look at the response. This is the response you can see. So this is the data it is displaying to you on the UI. So maybe I run it in another session here. Similarly, you can have more content on your page and you want to now automatically start the content from a new line, for example. So here it's anyways coming in a new line. Maybe I just add 2 input fields over here. Save this and let's come back, refresh. So you see both of them are coming in the same line. So one option is you put a BR tag. The another option is you also put a div tag, and in the div tag you provide your content. So div tag itself doesn't display anything on the user interface, but it is used to structure the content. Let me show you how. So maybe I also put a label, and in this label I'll say username, and then for the next input field also I'll put label, and I'll say password, and maybe even you can do like this, but that won't cause any difference on the user interface. Okay, this won't cause any difference. It will still show you everything in a new in the same line only. Okay, that's what system is doing. Now what I'll do is I'll put my first set of input field in one block and this in another block. Watch carefully. So I am coming here and say div, and I place this whole stuff inside my first div tag, and then I will again come here div, and again I will place my this whole content inside the div tag. You see I am putting it right. Save this. We are done. So that's how I am placing my div content over here. Okay, let's come back and refresh, and you see now all the content is getting displayed over here. It has automatically shifted password below because I am starting with the div element, and every div element automatically starts from a new line. And now you see you have two pieces, two blocks, each block representing something for you. Each block is having some identity, some representation. So this is one block, this is another block. Similarly, all these things also you can put it inside blocks. So each packet you can group together. So these are block level element. They can help you to create blocks. So you see I had created one block of my first content, then second block of my second content, and then I of course have my third block with my third content. This has a great advantage, and some of these advantages you will see in our next unit where we will talk about cascading style sheets. So I right now select all, right click and say I right click, and oops, I don't have an option to beautify. Ideally it should have given me an option to beautify my content, but that's okay, I can do it myself. So I just come here and make it beautification. So you see there are three blocks here, each representing one content, and each block is, so this is how they design the user interface. It's called block level element. Very, very powerful, especially from UI5 perspective. When you look at a Fiori application and its HTML structure, you will find everywhere div. It's because this is what is used to structure entire web page in small pieces, so it can be managed very well, right? So that's called block level element in HTML5. Next block level element is called span tag. A span tag is known as the inline element. Suppose you want to do don't you don't want to you don't want to start your content from a new line, because what div tag does, it starts from a new line. But if you want to wrap your content around some element, still you don't want to start it a new line, you can use inline element. So if we want block level element for structuring purpose, but not able but don't want to start from a new line, we can use the span tag element around the control, UI control. Okay, now one more interesting thing to display here. If I come here and refresh, you see no difference on the user interface. Even after putting div tag, you see no difference on the UI. But for programmer, for us, it's a difference because we are using div tag. Okay, so we can also use span tag. It's an inline element. So if you want to wrap an element around something for your structuring purpose, but since div tag will always start in a new line, we don't want to go to new line, you can use a span tag element. So how can you use it here? So maybe I want to have an inline element, so I can wrap this label with a span tag like this. So I can put my label inside this span tag, that I can do it. So let's see. Yeah, you see, we have placed it over here. That's a span tag element. So it's wrapping, but it won't cause into a new line. Now, if I show you the response, you will see that it doesn't bring it into a new line, this label. It remains over here. It is. Yeah. Now, another interesting thing on a browser, if you want to see the structure or HTML, what you have created, you can right click on the browser page and see view page source. When you click on this, you will see now the entire HTML. Wow, superb. You see, whatever HTML you have coded is visible over here. That's the beauty of view page source. You can see complete page source because browser understand it directly. Browser has to get HTML to display it, and this is the HTML which browser is using. You can see it's exactly our HTML with the span and divs. Okay, that's called view page source. And as I told you in the last class, that browser displays an HTML and it is a tree data structure, right? We discussed that whatever HTML you see, it's actually a tree data structure. So I'm not sure if I've written that also somewhere, that tree data structure. I did not. So let me note down then. So whatever you see, yes, here it is. Whatever you see, the tree data structure representation of HTML. So when your browser displays an HTML file, it is a tree data structure, and this tree data structure is known as DOM. Now, where can you see the DOM? You can right click and say inspect, or you can also press F12 key of your keyboard in any browser. Okay, what did I do? So, Fundafox, how to display the DOM. DOM is nothing but tree data structure of your HTML content. That's called DOM. So, to display DOM, we can use F12 key on our keyboard on any browser guys, all browser supports this. And we can also right click on page and say inspect element. Okay, let me show you then. So this is what it opens up when you press F12. Go to elements tab and you see this is your tree data structure. Remember guys, you see this is your tree data structure. Whatever HTML you're displaying here, it's represented in a tree format. This is your whole HTML. Header, body. In header you have put something, in body you put something. Yeah, you have put something in the body, you can expand it and you see this is your tree data structure in HTML. Very powerful. This is what we will be using, and this whole stuff what you see here, this whole stuff, this is known as Internet Developer Toolbar or Internet Development Tools, IDT, Internet Developer Toolbar or Internet Development Tools. This is what this whole window is known as, which comes up when you press F12. So when you press F12, the window in which the DOM is displayed is known as Internet Developer Toolbar, or you can call it as Internet Development Developer Tools or Development Tools also. So multiple names: Internet Developer Toolbar or Developer Tools. That's what they call it as. Very important interview question: what is Internet Developer Toolbar or Tools? Nothing but when you press F12, it opens up an Internet Developer Toolbar where we can perform multiple activities. For example, inspecting the DOM, looking into the DOM, looking into the tree structure of your web page. Is that clear to everybody? Which means any website you go in this in the world, you will see the DOM. Maybe I'll just quickly go back and run a Fiori application just to show you, don't get into it, just to show you. So run this Fiori application. So let me see if it is launches. Yes, it should launch. And yes, it's asking my password for my gateway. So let me just give my gateway credentials, and then it should load the data. So this is also an HTML page getting displayed to you. So when you right click and say inspect, you will see again a tree data structure. This is your DOM, you see, and you see everywhere in a Fiori application you have div everywhere, lots of divs. They are all built using block level element. This whole Fiori app built using block level element, lots of div tags. See, that's how SAP built it. Hope it's clear to all of you. What is DOM? You see, it's a tree data structure. It has lots of nodes. Node has childs, child has further child. Just to showcase you. Okay, don't get into it. Just to showcase you that how will in a real app a complex tree structure will look like. This is how a complex tree structure will look like in a real app. Okay, it has parent child relationship between nodes. That's what a tree data structure is, just to showcase you. Okay, so don't get into that right now, just to showcase you I showed you. Then let's come back. So that's your tree data structure over here, which is nothing but DOM. When how can you see that? You have to come to elements in Internet Developer Tools. This tool is very helpful. There are a lot of sections which we will be discussing. The next section is console. So let me just quickly talk about these sections of the Internet Developer Tools, which will be very helpful for you guys. Very helpful for you. So first is elements section. So what's there in IDT, Internet Developer Tools? Elements will show the DOM. Okay, it shows you the DOM. Second section is console. What is console? What does the console does? The console section of IDT will actually help you to try out some piece of code. So here you can put some piece of code to try it out. Okay, so you can try some piece of code. Also, the errors in your code will be displayed in the console. So if there is any error, guys, okay, there is any error, that error will be displayed into the console. Okay, here in the console that error will be displayed. If there is an error, by any chance, you will see in the future when we do some mistake, some error comes, that will be displayed in the console. What is source? The source section is actually used to display source code. This is also used to debug the code. So if there is a debugging required, you can do it using source. Now, one interesting point is, can you debug an HTML? Interview question. Can you debug an HTML? Anybody? Is it possible to debug an HTML? Anyone? No. Why no, Mahinder? Why do you think it's not possible? Why it's not possible to debug? Meenakshi is saying yes. No, no. Perfect answer, Lokesh. Lokesh has given me right answer. HTML is not a programming language. Yes. That's why you cannot debug an HTML like line by line. It's a markup language. What you see is what gets displayed. You can't debug line by line. Okay. It's not a programming language. Perfect answer. You will crack interview for sure. It's not a programming language. Hope it answer everybody's question. Why you can't debug HTML? Because it's not a programming language. Next section comes is network. Okay. So network section is used to display the calls made by browser. And by the way, guys, browser is also known as client. So call made by browser to server. I request you to please mute your line. Somebody has unmuted his line. It's disturbing the recording. Thank you. So network call, it's used to display calls made by browser to server. So yesterday, you remember, we saw some network calls in our page. Here it is. I was clicking submit and it was making a network call. Let's see that. So press F12. Watch this network section. I click on submit and watch here. You see a network call has been made here. I'm not able to display that call over here due to some reason, but yes, there is a network call which has been made from the system. Yeah, so system has made a network call to some website. So that network call will be visible over here. You can see 03 out of 3 requests have got response. So there was a network call which was made. You will use this option very often when we want to track calls to our SAP system from Fiori application. Okay, but right now it maybe it's not showing anything. But of course, you will be using this to make a call to our SAP server from browser. So that time it will be helpful for us. That's a network call section for us. Okay, that's a network call section for us. Clear? Now moving next. So performance, memory, application, security, audit, and UI5. These sections are right now not relevant. Okay, we don't use them much, but yes, they are also important. From as you can see the name, it's very apparent what will be the purpose of each one of them. UI5 is something I added myself. I will explain about it in our first UI5 chapter. So let's go back, and now what I'm going to do is I'll just come back here and move on to the next element. So if you see my website onlinefiorytrainings.com, it's structured in a way that it has different sections inside. What are all these sections? If you look at this whole website, you see there is this header section, yeah, where you have all the header content being displayed. Then you have some different articles over here where some articles are being displayed. There is a video over here which has been displayed. So all these are different sections, different structuring of our web content. So before HTML5, people used to use, a lot of different structuring techniques. Whole web page used to be built using div only. So today also we use lot of div tags, but still in the older versions also lot of things were built using div tags. But with modern website design, HTML5 have given some elements which makes it easy for you to build such a responsive web application. How? So there is a different special elements which were introduced by HTML, which helps you to design responsive or a good web design application. So let's say this is your page. Always you will have a header on the page. So if I just display it, so you have a header on the page, then you will have some footer at the bottom of the page, and then you will have some section over here, and then probably you will have some articles on your page, right? This is how modern website design looks like. So you'll always have a header, you will have a footer, you will have a section, you will have article. Yeah, so that's how you have your web page looks like. Any HTML page, when you look like, this is how typically you will see your HTML page looks like, correct? Modern websites. So these are all the new elements to structure or design a modern website was introduced in HTML5. Since our purpose here is to not design websites, our purpose is to learn UI5. I'm not going to deep inside these elements. How do they work? How do they position our content? Okay. So that's the reason I will just put it as a difference between HTML and HTML5. So new modern website content can be designed using special tags like header, footer, section. So that's a new element which was introduced in HTML5. So in order to design a modern website, you need a proper structure of a website, and using these elements you get proper structure of your website. Proper areas are divided clearly for your website using these modern elements. Again I iterate that since our purpose is to not build a website here, our purpose is to build UI5 Fiori apps. We will not go deep inside these elements. As a difference point of view, if you can remember this difference well enough, okay, well enough. So let's move on now. After this is done, source network console, after this all part is done, we'll look at the next set of elements, and there comes is your table element. So table, as we all know, table, it's a list of columns and rows. Yeah, any table, if you look at it, is composed of multiple columns and multiple rows. So this is how a table typically looks like. Yeah, it's a two-dimensional matrix also people call it as. Yeah, two-dimensional matrix. And if you look at a table, the whole table is divided into two parts. Okay, the whole table is divided into two parts. One is the body of the table, and one is the header of the table. So that's how the table is designed. So you will have header of the table, which we represent using t head tag, table header, and then comes is the table body. The body of the table is represented using t body tag. This is how the table is represented in HTML. Then comes inside the header, you will have a record tr tag, table row, and you see all these records inside this table are all TRs, table records, table rows. Okay, they are all table rows actually. And then you have inside each table row, you have in heading, you have table headings, th tags, and each table row in the body you have table data, td tags. Each cell is a td, table data and table heading. Hope it's clear to all of you how the table is designed in HTML. So let's go ahead and create. It's very interesting. So you start with the main table tag, and that main table tag is what includes everything. Okay, inside the table you have header body, inside the header you have table row which has table heading, inside the table body you have table multiple rows, and each row has table data td tag. That's the whole setup we have it for our table content. Let's go to the system and try to build it. So I come back and then I just zoom it up a little bit, and let's design our table over here on the UI. So I just put our table, and inside the table I put table header, and then I put table body, and then inside the table header we will put table row, inside the table row we'll put table heading, and I say song name is my table heading first column, then again table heading I'll put artist, and then I play say rock on. Yeah, and then I just put table body. So let's print this, at least this part on the UI. Let's see what it brings on the UI. So as we all do usually, hand to hand, let's put hand to hand both the content. Here it is, hand to hand content, and now just refresh on the right. You will see song name, artist, and rock on. Three columns have been created. Now you will also wonder, Anubhav, it doesn't look like a table. It looks like, straight string which is being printed. Of course, yes, because right now I didn't introduce CSS. I didn't introduce beautification for the content. So that's why it shows you raw crude data. Let's add table records below in the body of table. So each table record has table data. So first song is, let's say, Tu Bhula Jise, the one which we were playing the other day, and not KK, and then we have say a table data once again. In this I'll put an audio tag, and then of course you all can do that. Bring in the source file from the internet and put a source src for this audio file. That all you can do it probably. So I'm just creating my music library. Okay, that's what I'm doing. So that's my first table record, first song. Then comes another table row, and then again td tag, and then I say Vande Mataram, and then I can just come down. Next is AR Rahman, and then comes is TD, and then again an audio tag with controls. That's it. That's my second table row. Third table row, TR tag, TD tag, and then I put maybe uh, or I just say me like you do, and then maybe just next one again TD is Goblin, and then I say TD, and then I can again put my audio tag. Controls, of course, very important to display play and pause and volume control on the UI. So three table records I have created. Watch carefully on the right side. Voila, you see a table with three records have been introduced. You will see, Anubhav, there is no horizontal lining, there is no vertical lining. Yeah, of course, you are absolutely right. It's not there. Why? Because we don't have CSS yet. CSS is what makes your page beautiful. CSS is what makes it, look like a real web page. HTML is only used to create static web content without any styling. Styling comes with CSS. That's what will be our next unit. Okay. Hope it's clear to all of you how a table looks like. Let's move on now to the next HTML element, and that HTML element is nothing but your iframe tag. What is an iframe tag? What is an iframe tag? So an iframe tag in an HTML file is used to embed another HTML file inside. So you have one HTML file and I want to embed another HTML file or a HTML content inside my HTML page. I can use iframe tag. So the syntax for iframe tag is iframe href, which is nothing but HTTP reference from internet. So you can say onlinefurytrainings.com. So that's the example which I'm typically taking. I have only this website, so I'm taking it up, and then end with your iframe tag. That's an HTML element. So what happens, it brings whole of my website and puts it in this page. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm just going to get an iframe tag, and with the width as 100% of the page. So I just say 100% of the page. My width of this should be 100% of the page. Height of my content should be, let's say I will put 600 pixels, and then I will put href property, which is very important, from where this page should come. So I put my website address, onlinefurytrainings.com, and then I will save this. That's it. Iframe tag is created. Watch carefully now. I just go back, refresh our page, and you see there is an iframe which has been created, and soon you will see it will be fetching all entire HTML content from my website, and it will place that HTML content over here inside this iframe element. Okay, that's what system will do. I'm not sure if it has fetched it or not fetched it. Let's check that up. It should make a call and read the data. So in the console, if there is a problem in the console, it will display. It's not displaying anything in the console, which means ideally it should have got it. Are we missing something? Maybe I just remove www and let me try this one. It's not bringing my website content over here. There's something wrong. Did I do a typo? No, I didn't do any typo. Or will it be an src property? Let me see if it's an src property, not href property. And let me just refresh. So I tried with src property, and voila, yes guys, it's not an href property, it is src property. And you see now my whole of website is being displayed over here on the web page. So imagine you can integrate your all social networking account on a single HTML page using iframe. So using a single HTML page using multiple iframes, you can have your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, High Five, WhatsApp, everything integrated on a single web page application using iframe tag. Congratulations, very nice example. If you see on my website, I embedded this YouTube video. Remember, you were asking that how can I embed YouTube video using video tag? Not possible. You can use iframe for this. So if I right click on my YouTube video and say copy embed code, see copy embed code, right click copy embed code, come back to my website and put here, paste it. You see what it copied. It created an iframe with width and height of my website, my YouTube video, and this is my YouTube video URL. And you see YouTube puts something called slash embed slash video name. That's what YouTube put. And then there are some more property which YouTube is putting to embed an iframe. So that's also an iframe. It's gonna embed an HTML content to your web page on using YouTube. Save this. Let's come back. You will see my Fiori training video will also be embedded. Yes, you see it got embedded on this web page, and that's how I am embedding all the videos on our training blog using iframe tags. Very, very interesting, very powerful. So any YouTube video which you would like to embed, you can easily do that. Let me just show you. So just go to YouTube, okay, and search for any video. So recently I have uploaded a video called Git tutorial. So guys, this is a very interesting video I have added. So you see Git with Web IDE. So I promised many of you that I will provide a video on GitHub integration with SAP Web IDE. I have posted that. You can see it's also coming good with a good ranking on the YouTube. And just one day I've got 70 views. So let me go inside the video, and now see it will start playing my video. 106 views in just one day, 9 likes, thank you so much, and 1 comment, very nice. Okay, let me just say pause, right click and say copy embed code. Copy embed code. You can also say copy video URL, but it's better to use this. It will also copy the iframe tag required to embed this video. Copy this, come back to your HTML page, press enter, embed it, we are done. So maybe just put some enter so that you can see all this over here. Save it, come back and refresh. You will see my Git integration video is also getting embedded over here. Yeah, so that's how you can also include all your favorite videos from YouTube on a single web page using iframe tag. And that's how I have done it on my website. All my YouTube videos I have embedded on my website over here in a single web page. It's not a big deal. That's how they do it. That's how we can do it. Iframe tag, very helpful tag on HTML. Any questions, anyone? Any questions on block level elements, table? What is a div? What is DOM? Where can you see the DOM structure? What is Internet Developer Toolbar or developer tools? And what is source code? What is an iframe? Any questions, anyone? No one? Okay, let me also show you something interesting. So if you want to see what is the code on my website about this guy, okay, or how I created this guy, how I have created this guy. If you are on a website and you want to know how did they create this thing, how did they create, what is this, you can right click and say inspect element. Okay, inspect element, and it will open up the developer tools for you. Okay, and you see that it's a table heading, it's a th tag. You see it's a th tag. This whole thing, this song is a th tag. It's inside a table row. You see, I select table row tr, and it's highlighting on the ui the whole ui. You see the whole record, heading record, it's highlighting, right? Then if you just scroll little up, you'll see it will highlight the table header. And then if I scroll little up, then it highlights the whole table, because this whole thing is inside a table, right? So that's what the DOM structure is, that's what your tree structure is. So when you are actually highlighting things up, it is highlighting particular element on the UI. Very, very helpful. And each element you can also assign a unique ID. Okay, that's also possible. So now there are some questions, so let's have a look at these questions. So is there any element both block level and inline? No, there is a granularity, Gautam. We can use both div and span together. So HTML has separated this up. HTML has not combined it. So you can use wherever you need block level element, which is nothing but a block level element itself. These are the two block level elements. So don't call div as a block level element. Div is a subcategory of a block level element. So there are two block level elements. One is div, one is span. Okay. So this is how you should say in interview. Div is not alone a block level element. These both things are block level elements. And there is nothing like a combination of these two. You always use one of them. If you need both of them, you can put both of them as part of your page. Hope it's clear to you. What is a block level element? What is division in inline? Yes, please. Then Samir has a question. Element ID can be same in two different HTML pages. Yes, if you have two different HTML page, there you can have, you know, ID. So there you don't have a restriction. So maybe I am creating a web page where I put username as ID, and Google is creating their login page where they can put username as ID. There is no restriction on there. But on one single HTML page, you should make sure that ID is unique. Okay, because we are on a current page and there we want to identify. So it's also good practice that you put some page ID hyphen the element ID. You make a combination of IDs using such combination. Okay, that's a good practice. So hope it answer your question, Samir, also. So let's move on then. Have a quick look at introduction of CSS. So what is CSS? Why we use CSS? What problem do we face with HTML? And that's the reason every problem is actually a incarnation of a innovation. So whenever you feel a problem, there is an innovation to solve the problem. Innovations are built in our life. So earlier, if you remember, in very old days, people used to drink water, and they used to take this in Hindi we call it as matka or matki. So this is what we used to use. It's made up of sand wounds. So using sand, they will prepare this nice water containers, and in that we used to store the water in old days. But that was not durable. Then somebody have started storing water using big leaves. So you see banana tree leaves, it's very big. In that, people started storing the water. But that was again not durable, because it was very prone to any damage, and then you it was not so hard, and it doesn't also keep the water cool. Then we had the new innovation, which is plastic bottles, which now we use to store the water. So all the water what we drink, we can store it now in plastic bottles. That's durable. Even though it fall, it doesn't break. You can cool it up by putting it into the fridge, and you can carry it quite easily wherever you like. So that's an innovation. Because, and if you see this around you, whenever you walk into a mall, you will see the whole mall is filled up with innovations of humankind history. Yeah, everything is an innovation around you. What you are doing, wherever you go, you see all around you innovation, innovation, innovation. So it's because there is a need, and because of a need, there is an innovation. And that's what happening here in HTML. When we want to give some style, what I mean by coloring, font, size, border, yeah, blah blah blah. So there can be many of these things which are all related to formatting and styling. Okay, styling and formatting. Let me put it: style or formatting of content. Okay, whenever we want to give some style or formatting to our HTML content, we used to use tags. Okay, so we used to put like tag name, and then of course our content. Okay, and maybe I say I love India, it is my country and home. Okay, so tag name, and then I have, let's say, this paragraph over here, or this paragraph, let me put it as a p tag. So it's a paragraph. Now I want to highlight India. Okay, so if I want to highlight India, what I will typically do, I will put an em tag, emphasize tag inside. So I will put em tag and highlight India. I want to also bold India, so I will make b tag bold and just put b over here. And then I say my country, I want to also bold this, or I want to change the font for this. So I say font name is, let's say, Calibri, and then I just put my country also blocked into the font. Now if I want to change color of my country, then I say color, and I just put here color name equals to red, and then I will put here my country also slash color. That's a color tag. So we used to use a lot of tags. Now imagine, guys, I love India, this is my country, this is small phrase, a small paragraph, but that has got so many HTML tags for formatting. Imagine if you're building a big website with lots of content, and at each element level you have to do such a styling. Each element level you have to do such a styling using tags. Will your code be maintainable or not maintainable? Can you maintain this code? If I've written this, can you maintain it? This single paragraph, can you maintain it easily? Is it possible for you to read through it easily and maintain it and adapt this based on needs? This particular paragraph, anyone? What do you think? Of course not. And if you cannot maintain this, how will you maintain a big website? You cannot maintain such a big website, and that has become a nightmare for HTML developers. So styling based on tag names has become a nightmare for developers managing the source code of HTML. It has become a big problem, big nightmare for them. Nobody would like to work with HTML. And that's what was solved with the concept of CSS, cascading style sheet. Okay, we'll see how it solves our purpose, or how it brings an innovation, solves the problem. So innovation is created to solve problems. Okay, to solve problems. So it'll solve one problem. What's our problem? It's the maintainability of an HTML tag based styling. That's the solution we want now. So CSS is applied. CSS stands for cascading style sheet, and now you know the purpose of it. It is used to format, I would say, style or beautify the content, the HTML content. That's what CSS, one line definition, very powerful definition of CSS. 100% interview question: what is CSS? It's used to format, style, beautify HTML content. CSS is applied. How CSS is applied? Next interview question: how CSS can be applied? Okay, how CSS can be applied? CSS can be applied in three different techniques. First is called inline CSS. Second is called internal CSS. Third is called external CSS. There are these three techniques using which you can apply the CSS in the life. So what is inline CSS? Inline CSS is applied at each element level using a special property called style property inside element. Okay, that's called inline CSS. You will use a special property called style property. The syntax for inline CSS is style, sorry, your tag name, then you will put a style property equals to double quotes, and then end of tag name. That's your syntax. Now in this style you will put your property name, what you want to change, colon property value. Remember, this makes very important sense here. Each symbol is important. This is a column, this is a semicolon. Remember the difference. This is a column, this is a semicolon. This is a column, this is a semicolon. Very important, guys. These symbols will make you or it will break you. These symbols will make you or it will break you. These symbols will make you or it will break you. When you are working with UI5, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, symbols will make you and it will break you. Symbols will make you and it will break you. That's the Guru Mantra for today's class. Symbols will make you and break you. Symbols will make you or break you. I want to put it in your head. Symbols will break you or make you. So remember, the symbols will break you or make you. See, this is a colon, this is a semicolon. This is a column, this is a semicolon. This is a column, this is a semicolon. This is a colon, this is a semicolon. So colon is used with property and value. Semicolon is used to differentiate between multiple properties. So next property, if you put it here, it will come like this. Semicolon, once again, next property, if you put, it will come like this. So if you want to put multiple properties, keep putting them separated with semicolon. If you want to put a value of a property, separated with this colon. So colon and semicolon, symbols will break you or make you. That's a Guru Mantra of today's class. Very important. That will be helpful for us to apply the CSS in our life. Tag name, style tag, and that's what we put it here. Now let's move on to the internal CSS. So what is internal CSS? In internal CSS, we apply style at the page level. So here you see we are applying style at the element level. Over a period of time, of course, it's easy, but this will also become non-maintainable, because if you have thousands and thousands of HTML element on your page, how will you apply this style, guys? It will be big problem for you, right? So that's why we have internal CSS. In this internal CSS, the style will be applied at page level. Okay, of course it affects elements, it affects multiple elements together. Okay, it can affect one element also, it can affect multiple elements also together, but it's applied at the page level. So what do? We use a special tag in header of HTML called style tag. So we use a style tag, and in this style tag we write the style code. So syntax for that is style tag, end of style tag, and inside this we will put something called selector colon curly braces, and inside this we will now write some code. So style code, nothing but your, once again, symbols will make you property value semicolon property value semicolon property value, and so on. Like this you will put all your property and value. So what is selector? We will come to it in a minute. What is external CSS? External CSS, the CSS is applied using a ready to use CSS file. So it's a CSS by reference, which means you refer a file which is outside your page, you just reference it, and with that CSS will bring it into the page. These are all the three styling techniques we have using cascading style sheets. We will discuss about them in detail in our upcoming chapter tomorrow. So I request you to at least go through this PPT every day. Take a print of this PPT, carry it with you every day when you're traveling, sitting in the bus, especially those who are working in Bangalore, facing heavy traffics every day, wasting your time sitting in the traffic, listening to the music and talking to colleagues. That's a pure waste of your time. Make use of your time at least as long as this training is going on. Take a print of this PPT, carry this with you, and read it during your free time. Read it when you are sitting in a bus or you're traveling, you're sitting in a cab. That is the point of time you can take this out and start reading through this. It will give you great advantage. Believe me, this will give you great returns, very high returns you will get if you follow this practice. So daily watch this PPT. If you're not able to sit and practice, make use of your waste time, which is travel time, sitting in a cab or bus. Take a print, carry it with you, watch this up, open it up, and at least read through it and try to do memorization of what I taught. This will give you great advantage in your career, great advantage in your learning path of UI5 and Fiori. So take a print. Tomorrow's class we will start with the details. We'll see how can we beautify our page. And in fact, you see one question which was there in your mind about how can you bring this table look like a table by bringing the horizontal, vertical lines, all that. That's also part of CSS. That's what exactly using CSS will do. We will beautify these things on the top. What do you see here? These things, what you see on the top, these things I want to convert into blocks. I want to bring them into like this. How can you bring them into like three boxes? How can you convert this text, raw text, into three boxes? How can you do this? That's something CSS will do for us. Okay, CSS. If you also see this guy on the top, what do you think? Which control is this? Anyone on the top? What do you think? Which control is this? Anybody? What do you think? Which control is this on the top? This guy, this gentleman here. What is this? No, it's not a table. No, it's not a tab strip. There is no
List.
tag called tab strip. Yes,
It's a list.
it's a list, unordered list. I have styled this unordered list to this particular element, and that's what I will show you in upcoming days in CSS chapter. So get ready for it. In tomorrow's class we'll discuss about it. See you tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day and goodbye. Okay, I have a question here from vacuum. Okay, let me just pick it up, this question. Okay, let me pick it up, this question. Very good, you have put question in very organized way. Let me just pick it up since we have got this question on time before closing. Is there any specific difference between JS and HTML view? Okay, little advanced question. I would say yes. JS view is created using JavaScript. HTML view is created using HTML. And now, which means you need to know the difference between HTML and JavaScript. So can anybody tell me what is HTML and what is JavaScript? Anyone in the room? Can you please tell me what is HTML? Anyone? What is HTML? It's a markup language. It's not a programming language. What is JavaScript? It's a programming language. So that's the difference between the views also which are produced using that. So what we use often, we use JavaScript views over HTML views. We don't use HTML views in UI5. Little advanced question. Definitely you will get answer of this question in our upcoming chapters. 100% you will get an answer. You will not even get this question in your mind. Can we use any of above type of views to create our apps? SAP UI5 framework is strict only to HTML view. No, it's not. You can use any type of views, and I think you are kind of forgot this question. You were trying to write this question, what is the difference between HTML XML views, because in major UI5 application we only see XML views. If you open any standard Fiori application which you are working with, you will only see XML views. If you look at any source code which is shared with you or in your company, if you're already seeing some implementation which they are creating, they all using XML views. Okay, I think this was your question. By mistake you put HTML. So XML view and JavaScript view also there is a difference. XML is again a markup language. XML, extensible markup language. Okay, it's not a programming language. So we follow an architecture called MVC, model view controller architecture, and MVC says never put your presentation or input output logic should not be a programming code. So that's why we use XML views over JavaScript views. So in fact in SAP UI5 XML views are used instead of JavaScript or HTML views. We will discuss about this question in detail. Very good interview question also. Very important interview question. Why we use XML views? Why not other type of views? Very important interview question. I will discuss this in our upcoming days. Okay. Yeah. So I see some answers. Very nice. So hope right now it answer your question. Okay, right now it answer your question, but in detail we'll when we reach to UI5 chapter we'll see. Do we need to learn XML as well? At to what extent? No, you don't need to learn XML. I will teach XML in this course. Okay, so whatever I teach, that's enough for you. Okay, you just go with the flow. Okay, just go with the flow, guys. Very important, just go with me. If you will complete daily what am I telling you, if you practice that daily what am I telling you, it's more than sufficient. It's my open challenge, no one can beat you. No one can beat you in your company. Believe me, no one can beat you in your company. Not your colleagues, not your friend, neither your manager. Okay, no one can beat you on UI5. It's my open challenge. If any time you feel it difficult, come to me. It's an open challenge. Nobody will be able to beat you on UI5. I'm also planning, or in fact creating a free online university where I will be posting some updated UI5 topics which unfortunately I cannot cover in my course due to time restrictions. And then these topics will be available on YouTube. That's why I always keep saying that subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you see the in that series itself I have posted my first video on Git repository. So go to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to it so that you will get updated automatically whenever a new video is posted by me. So go to my playlist and you see learning series with Anubhav which I started yesterday. Anubhav's learning series. The first video I had posted over here as a Git integration. Soon I will post a video using Access.js programming. How to do Access.js programming? I just created one chat bot. What is a chat bot? When you are chatting with somebody, somebody is responding. So here you are chatting with the computer. You might have heard about Siri in iPhone. When you chat, Siri will respond to you. So that's artificial intelligence. It's a machine learning. So I've recently created a program which is a chat bot using JavaScript and server-side JavaScript. You don't need to learn machine learning for it. So I will be posting that video soon on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for amazing free learning, guys. It will take your career to completely different level. Nobody can match skills what you will have in your company. People will start respecting you. They will start thinking, okay, you are a champ. Okay, so subscribe to the channel. Keep watching this space. There are a lot of things which I could not cover in my training. For example, OPA 5 test. Somebody was asking the other day, how can we do unit testing using UI5? That's what I am going to bring in into my free learning university session. For example, how to export web id project and import in Eclipse. So if you just do an export import, it won't work. You need to do something special to run your web id project in Eclipse. So that's what I'm going to post. How to do cross Fiori up navigation. How can we do that? What is the best right table design? How can we do that? How to build an OVP Fiori app using CDS UI annotations in S4 HANA. That's what I'm going to bring in. So a lot of interesting topics which are kind of not covered in my course due to time restriction. I will be posting that on my YouTube channel in Anubhav's learning series. Subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of the action happening there on YouTube. Thank you so much. With that, see you tomorrow. Have a nice day and goodbye.